Hello and many thanks for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Do stay with us. The Council of Ministers has discussed 4 draft bills and passed resolutions today. Accordingly, the Council passed decision on the Federal Income Tax Draft Regulation, Public Servants and Private Sector Employees Retirement and Pension Draft Proclamations, Agreements in the Mining Sector, and Ethiopia's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister Mezcal has held discussions with Achim Steiner, administrator of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. The two have discussed shared priorities and expressed appreciation for their long-standing partnership and commitment to elections, peace building, and future development path. Mezcal has also held discussions with the Danish and also the Norwegian foreign ministers, talking about various issues of common concern in New York City. China has opposed the new round of U.S. sanctions on Ethiopia. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China, Zhao Lijian, has tweeted the following, quote unquote, "China opposes new U.S. sanction regime on Ethiopia. We hope the U.S. will be prudent and play a constructive role. We believe the parties concerned in Ethiopia have the wisdom and capability to properly resolve differences, realize national reconciliation, and restore peace and stability." Ethiopian diaspora leaders have blasted the Biden administration seeking to impose sanctions against Ethiopia without considering the realities on the ground and only based on TPLF lobbyist interests. The United States and some Western countries putting undue pressure on African countries, particularly Ethiopia, comes from fear that Africans will decide by themselves and build strong economy, they said. Goshu Melliso has the details.
President Biden signed an executive order to establish a new sanction against Ethiopia as the TPLF continues to perpetrate atrocities on innocent civilians in Amhara and Afar states. The new executive order has been a disappointment for many Ethiopians from every corner except the TPLF. Talking to ETV English on current affairs, diaspora leaders said the Biden administration imposed sanctions against Ethiopia ridiculously without considering the situation on the ground.
It doesn't bother me at this point because always the presidents I have seen, I've been in America for 41 years and I've seen 6 presidents, and then every president, they are really giving instructions or but the Congress and the senators has to discuss with the issue before they do any kind of implement. So let's say, for example, if we look at Iran for the past 20 years, Eritrea for the past 20 years, including Syria for the past 10 years, they have had sanctions and they can they have gone through this.
Zodu Mengste, Ethiopian Diaspora Coordinator, for his part reflected that the United States and some Western countries putting undue pressure on African countries, particularly Ethiopia, comes from fear that Africans can decide by themselves and build a strong economy.
The Western Americans all the time, they don't need Africans to be strong in politics and economics, especially Ethiopians. Because if Ethiopia is to become a strong country within economically and politically, they don't need that. For 27 years, more than that, when the Wayanis region was there, the diaspora community was all the time, we demonstrated about the Ethiopian government with the past. There is no human rights, there is no democracy. We was all the time complaining about the government of Ethiopians, but anyone, Europeans and Americans, was silent at that time, especially on 1997, the Ethiopian calendar, or 2005.
Reflecting on Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's open letter to Biden, Alemayo said it was appropriate and timely. He also underscored that paid media of the TPLF are deliberately distorting the fact and campaign against Ethiopia.
All of a sudden, when the Biden administration took power, because of the money that was stolen from the TPLF, that I believe it was $25 billion or more, they have, spread that money to the lobbyists, to the Congress, to the, to the CNN, and then, BBC and Washington Post, New York Times. They bought the whole system, even including in Europe, like the BBC, Al Jazeera, and all those, including the parliaments of some of the leaders, Congress people in Belgium, Brussels, you name it, including the UN. Our Ethiopian health organization is working against us.
They noted that Ethiopians should not be alarmed by the situation after what the Biden administration is doing now. Ethiopians rather need to foster their unity in every corner.
And we shouldn't be very alarmed with the situation. The only thing is, Ethiopians, just like they have been united now, and then all diaspora people, if we are united, we can really cover that financial deficit by organizing the whole Ethiopian people in the diaspora.
Trust in the U.S. government as a neutral actor has been dwindling after reports of alleged U.S. support to the TPLF, it was indicated.
UNICEF Ethiopia representative Adel Khodr, along with her team, has paid a visit to internally displaced people in Dessie as a result of terrorist TPLF attacks. After her visit, she has voiced her concern that schools were full of internally displaced people, which could be a threat to education in some parts of the state of Amhara. Take a listen to this.
Schools that are occupied by IDPs will not be able to open and receive the normal children. So we are also worried about that and where the IDPs can stay, which is not in a school, because otherwise the children are going to lose a school year. So that's for us a major worry. But as I told you, I have been in Amhara 1 month ago. I went to North Gondar, and then I went to Bahir Dar, and I met with the government, and we gave a lot of supplies. We gave supplies for around $2 million for the treatment of the children also who are malnourished. And I hope that we can bring more resources so that we are able to support these people.
She has also pledged to continue supporting the IDPs in Ethiopia, along with other concerned bodies.
We did work in North Shoa when no one was else working in North Shoa. We did work in Chagni for the IDPs who were coming from Beni Shangul Gumuz. So we have done work, and in North Gondar. I think that the request to reach the people in the areas that are the war zones, as you mentioned, has been made by the government of Amhara, and we are looking with other UN agencies about how we can reach them.
A member of the Nigerian Federal House of Representatives, Sheena Peller, calls on African governments to join hands in protecting the well-being of the continent. Talking to ETV here today, Sheena stressed the need for the African Union to play its constructive role in bringing African solutions to African problems. Solomon Danye has more.
Though countries in Africa are acting as independent nations, there is still a long way to go to truly emancipate themselves from the yoke of neocolonialism. The entire continent is still under the watch of foreign powers who dictate everything in Africa. It is thus imperative for each African nation to have the political will for cooperation, thereby ensuring true independence.
The average of an African child has a fire in him to change the world. So they should just be given an opportunity for Africans to develop Africa. So I believe that we have what it takes. I believe that in Africa, if we are able to look inward, then we should be able to rally around ourselves. And this, happens with even one country to another. When we see an African country that is going through a hardship, I believe it's high time for the rest of African countries to come together, and come to the aid of such African countries. Not even looking at the Western world now. So I think it's high time for Africa to look inward and be able to drive our process, from 0 to 100 without even looking outside.
Talking to ETV English, Sheena Peller underscored the need for the African Union to play a constructive role in settling differences among African nations.
I think it is high time that organizations like African Union, must be able to rise up, to their obligation, to protect, the interests of Africans, and also most importantly to protect the African territory, and African Union is an organization that is meant to be charged, with the welfare of all African countries. So by so doing, even before looking outside, I think this is the time for African Union to rise up, so that to be able to protect, the nation.
Encouraging and empowering the continent's youth is indispensable to create future leaders of the continent, Sheena said, adding that awakening the people's consciousness about politics is critical to shape the future of Africa.
This festival is amazing. It's bigger than I could imagine. We have nothing like this, nothing this big as a religious festival in the United States. So I'm overwhelmed. It's so joyful. I feel so much love in my heart watching your people be so excited here. It's been great.
Definitely, you see a lot of different pastors and churches come from different regions, and they all have their own different designs of the crosses, and they all bring together something different from their region to here, and it brings in so much other people too, and I'm definitely excited to see for the first time the burning of the Demera.
I've come to see this because it is such an important festival for everybody in Ethiopia, and the atmosphere is unique to itself, and so never having been here before, with the opportunity to come here was one that I couldn't miss. So this is the first celebration I've seen that is of a religious nature.
I have never been a part of such an amazing spiritual and sacred event and celebration. If you could be here with me, you can just feel so much emotion and so much beauty. When I look around, you see everybody in their traditional clothes, and they're wearing it with pride and with the Ethiopian materials. It's so beautiful and colorful, and the singing is so special as well.
It's a good chance to be here today and to visit the other universities in Ethiopia. I'm happy with my friends.
I have great admiration for the Ethiopian church. It is an Oriental church, and coming from Turkey, we are very familiar to the Oriental church in history. So first of all, this is very important for me, to be here. Secondly, this is an extraordinary festival. So colorful, so much representing the country as well.
Ambassador of the State of Israel to Ethiopia expresses Mezcal Demera, the burning of the bonfire, as an Ethiopian holiday which marks the departure of darkness by light from rainy season to sunny weather. The ambassador, Alelin Admasu, appreciates Demera celebration, which happens a couple of weeks after New Year celebration, as a time of hope and new beginnings. He indicates the formation of new government in September is also a promising incident to create hope among Ethiopians. Daniel Kasahun has this report.
It is an extraordinary pleasure to see you here.
Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed commenced his official visit to the State of Israel in last 2019. At that time, leaders of both countries expressed keenness to bolster their bilateral ties to higher levels.
Ethiopia will always work for a dynamic and effective partnership. Toba Rabah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The Ethiopian-born ambassador of the State of Israel to Ethiopia, Alelin Admasu, who was appointed months ago, believes beginning new things in September is right for Ethiopians, as it is a special time which marks the departure of darkness by light and from rainy season to sunny weather.
It is a New Year's like in Ethiopia. It's September. September is a new year, and also it's Demera. You making a light.
A bonfire.
Light, yeah. It's a light. It's nice. Light is, it's opposite of dark.
Yes.
So it is light. It's a New Year's.
The ambassador Alelin appreciates the Demera celebration, which happens a couple of weeks after New Year celebration, with a time of hope and new start. He indicates formation of new government in September is also a promising opportunity to create new hopes among Ethiopians.
It is, it's a new year. The peoples in the September, peoples it's a dream good things. So it is very nice. Also, at this moment, Ethiopia will be after the election will be a new government. It is very nicely like for Ethiopians people. I hope September it is very nice.
Ambassador Alelin also said the Israeli government is desirous to cooperate with the government of Ethiopia in various fields to see if Ethiopia's aspiration for development be achieved.
A sacred tradition among the Tigrayans, Mezcal is time for festivity and togetherness. In this community, which greatly contributes to Ethiopia's pride and dignity, Mezcal is celebrated on the 26th and 27th of September every year. In the following piece by Binyam Alemayo, we go up north to Adigrat in the eastern zone of the state of Tigray for a glance at how Mezcal, the founding of the True Cross, is embraced by the Agame community with glittering lights, joy, as well as humor. Here we go.
Mezcal is a sacred tradition among the Tigrayans, as in most of Ethiopia. It is celebrated on the 26th and 27th of September every year. One of the things they do as part of the preparation is buy slaughter animals. The blood of the slaughtered animals is sprinkled by way of honoring them. They also spread butter on bulls and cows. Men engage in the preparation of meat after slaughtering it. They also enjoy a traditional dish known as the tehlo.
ያለውና ጥህሎ የተሰራበት አገሩ የሚገልጽ ነው ያገሩ ባህል የሚገልጽ አጋመን የሚገልጽ ነውና በጣም መስጦኛል ትናንት የነበረ ደግሞ ችቦ አበራል ደስ ይላል
Asala, Ashala, Askala, Asala, Asala. La la ye, 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 la la ye. Ndama malet Gabriel, awaqahta khidna khan asala, ma'alzna hilna jamirna yo.
During the Mezcal celebrations, men go around while dancing by the bonfire.
Police line, they're gonna check everything. So wish us luck. Yes, success. Just about to get interviewed by the local ENA News. Interview number 3 for Hannah. This time with EBC, which is the, I think it's the Ethiopian Broadcasting Commission.
የእግዚአብሔር ይቅርታ ምድርን መላ ሰማያትን